What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about Nightwing, issue number 103. This one is written by Tom Taylor, art by Travis Moore primarily. I mean, there's some other artists in that who worked on this thing. There was Vasco Giorgio V, if I'm saying that correctly, worked on a few pages, but you honestly can't tell too much when the art style changes. It's not a jarring transition, so it's pretty similar, if you will. And then, of course, you had the backup as well, but this is continuing the adventures of Titans. I'm sorry, Nightwing. This is basically just a prelude, if you will, to Tom Taylor's Titans book, which is going to be coming out very, very soon. I saw some preview panels for that, and let's just say they didn't have the most positive receptions, if you will. But we'll get into that when I eventually start covering the Titans book at some point. But yeah, so Nightwing 103, or Titans, if you will. Dick Grayson just feels lost in his own book, and stories never finish. I don't know. I don't really know anymore with this book. The stakes feel really low anymore. It doesn't feel like Nightwing really gets a chance to shine as much in his own book. Everything's kind of light, fluffy. He never really gets to do things fully on his own. He always has somebody there to kind of bail him out. I'm just waiting for this book to really kind of pick up the pace, and when it looks like it's about to, then we're kind of cut with more fluff and low stakes stuff. I don't know, man. It feels kind of off to me. And also, sorry for getting a little bit late on this video. I've been pretty behind on stuff this week. Why DC decides to release all these comics that I tend to cover in 1 week is beyond me. It's like, oh my god, I have 7 to cover. 7. So yeah, I've been slacking quite a bit, but I'm back now. I'm going to try and get this all cut up between today and tomorrow, and then I also got to do a solicitations video, so you'll be seeing a lot of me in the next couple days. But basically, Neron's in hell. He's been humiliated by the Titans. He's trying to get this contract for the daughter of Blockbuster's soul. How Blockbuster and that was able to sell this little girl's soul without this little girl being able to, so apparently she has no ownership over his soul. I don't understand how most of these hell contracts work. In fact, the Titans, or at least some of them go to Themyscira. Starfire, Donna Troy, and Babs take the little girl there for some training, if you will. And of course, Bitewing is there because nobody watches this dog, and this dog kind of goes everywhere that they go. And yeah, there's a few questionable lines at times, but you know, we'll roll with the punches, if you will. So they head to hell. It's Cyborg, it's Beast Boy, it's Raven, it's Nightwing, and they're trying to get to the bottom of this contract that this little girl has been kind of entrapped in, even going into Hell's computer. I don't know, it just seems kind of weird that Hell has its own like computer software stuff and all sorts of malware and the internet connections, if you will. But that's what Cyborg's there. He's there to find the file. He's there to find the contract. Dick Grayson, of course, calls his sister and has some legal thing that he does to kind of get guardianship over this little girl, if you will. But Neron doesn't like that because that's kind of a loophole out of this strange hell contract, if you will. I don't know how it all fully works. You just kind of have to roll with it. But he gives him a little temptation to be like, hey, you give me this girl's soul and I'll give you some power like this, and you'll become Super Wing, if you will, so you can really make a difference. But we all know Dick Grayson's not going to sell out for some extra power-ups. You could always find another means to get the power if you wanted to. But yeah, I do like the suit design, though. I think that's pretty cool. You got the yellow, you got the blue, you got the black in that. So I like the suit design. I think it's a pretty cool looking one. So I mean, that's the main positive of this issue. That suit design looks pretty cool. And then we get the backup storyline where Dick was questioning this one girl, like, hey, why'd you cut the rope? And then of course it's all revealed to be like, oh, I knew the whole time she didn't really do it. I was just testing you, John. Boy, what kind of a jerk move, Dick Grayson. Some innocent woman who is in panic mode over what happened. You're like, why did you do it? And then that's just going to rile her up. He's like, okay, I know you really didn't do it. It was the kid who did it. But the kid did it because he didn't want to do this whole trapeze artist thing. So he tried to orchestrate a plan to where he'd fall with the net. But then again, things got more out of hand and such. But it is what it is, I suppose. Like, they have a reconciliation moment because he's tired of just being labeled like a circus boy freak by everyone else. He just wants to be a normal kid. Why they couldn't just have this conversation with the mom, I don't really know. It's kind of a weird situation. Like, hey, look, I'm scared. I don't want to do this. I want to be a normal kid. At least have the conversation first, but they have it now. But that still doesn't explain the whole bomb situation, if you will, which they're going to investigate it. In terms of the backup storyline, it's just kind of okay. I kind of forgot a lot about it until I kind of went back and looked at this issue. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. We are in the middle of this thing. So yeah, that's going on. Why does Nightwing need a backup? That's the thing I'm questioning too. Do we really need it? Are we going to jack up the rights and the price of this comic book just so we can have more backup storylines, which are really not leading to too much? The only one that I feel backup storyline as of late that I feel like really kind of ties closely into it is the stuff that's coming out of Chip Zdarsky's Batman book, which is, it's just kind of another part of the story that's going on simultaneously. Some of this other stuff, it just feels kind of off-putting, and I don't know why we have that in all these books when you could just cut it out and keep the price a little bit lower. But yeah, the Nightwing book right now, it's kind of just so-so. It's not really quite awful, nothing that's really infuriating or anything like that. It feels kind of off to me. It feels like it still annoys me to the point that we have not yet finished that whole Heartless storyline from the beginning. We're just continuously taking more detours and all that other stuff rather than completing a story arc and then going into this. I wouldn't be as bummed out about them going in this direction if they hadn't already finished the Heartless storyline, because that's been going on since the start of this run, and it feels like as soon as we start it, we kind of get sidetracked once again. But too much sidetracking for me. The stakes feel so incredibly low. Yeah, there could be some funny moments here and there because Taylor is good at those little moments, but the emotional impact of some things, it just feels kind of undercut to me. It's too easy, if you will, for Dick Grayson and Nightwing. It's a little too easy. It's like going back and playing a video game on New Game Plus, and you're at the very first state and you have all the upgrades. Everything feels so low stakes. I don't feel any suspense in any issue because everything is just wrapped up so quickly, and things just are kind of underwhelming. I don't find Neron intimidating. I don't find any of these other villains all that intimidating because all the Titans are there, and this is a Nightwing book, and it's just like an added bonus, if you will, for it just makes it easier for Dick Grayson. You know, I like the team ups here and now, but everything's just so easy anymore. And again, comics sometimes don't always have the high stakes stories, but there's just nothing all that interesting about this particular one. Okay, a girl gets caught up in this hell contract and the Titans got to save it. Okay, that's cool and all. There's some light fluffy moments, but there's a little too much fluff for my liking. I mean, I like fluff, don't get me wrong. I enjoy it. I like taking a little reprieve from that, but I feel like most of this book has been nothing but that sort of stuff, and I kind of want a little bit more stakes. Maybe pull a little Deceased Tom Taylor and have him write this book. It's kind of strange, too, because Deceased had a really solid ending there. It had its emotions, and it had a big payoff to everything. Maybe it's like there's two different Tom Taylors. You have the Elseworlds one and then the main universe one. Elseworlds Tom Taylor is really, really good, and then, for the most part, and then you have main universe one, which can be quite hit or miss at times. So I don't know. Maybe he's got two different sides of him that write stuff like that. But I just wish we could get more of that Deceased version of him into the main storylines. Maybe it's because it doesn't have all the shackles of trying to maintain continuity. But I need something a little bit more, if you will. Some characters have been through the ringer quite a bit and need a little bit of light and reprieve, which this book desperately needed at the start of it, when he took over because of the whole Rick Grayson thing. We kind of needed a little bit of a palate cleanser, but now we've kind of had that for so long, if you will, for like the shift in tone. Now I kind of want, all right, we've kind of done this for a bit. Let's really up the stakes. Let's really challenge Dick Grayson, and let's not make it too easy. Let's really put the characters through the ringers again, because that's what makes the stories more interesting sometimes, if you will. So I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit too harsh on this particular story, but I think because he has yet to finish the first story that started in this book, and it's just kind of getting brushed aside. It's just leaving me a little bit of and then also because everything just seems too easy and underwhelming at this point. That's why I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Maybe it's just kind of losing me at this point. Artwork is quite good because it is Travis Moore, and you know the other guy did some good stuff too. So I have no complaints really about the art and the style within the pages of this book, but it's just I'm not all that invested in this particular story, if you will. So it worked as like a quick standalone thing, but now we're just like, the legal contracts of hell and that. It just doesn't sound all that interesting to me, if you will. So I don't know. I'm just kind of going through the motions with this book. I really want it to get good. It started out strong, but now we're at the point where I'm like, it's just kind of, to me at this point. I read it, but I don't generally care as much. I want to up the stakes a little bit in this book. Come on, I know you can do it. You just did Deceased, maybe not to that universal level threat, but something that where Dick Grayson really has to kind of do something on his own and not have so many security blankets, if you will. Something to not necessarily, as the second story points out, not necessarily have a net to fall back on. So, because this is a Nightwing story, this is his book, I want to see him really kind of overcome some of this stuff on his own. It's good to have allies in that too. I like that, but there's times where I'm just like, in a Nightwing book, I want to see Nightwing really do stuff as Nightwing more so on his own, if you will, at times. You know what I mean? There's just something about it that I just feel like this book's kind of lacking. So anyways, I've rambled on long enough. If you like the book, let me know in the comment section down below. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, all that other fun stuff. I'm going to go ahead and cover Superman after this, and then I still got World's Finest. I still got Wonder Woman, which I haven't read, and then I still have Batgirls, which I have yet to read. So you'll be seeing a lot of videos between today and tomorrow in terms of all this stuff. And I also got to get that solicitations video out at some point. So look forward to all that stuff. All right, well, that's all I got to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.